Welcome to Node Mode. I am Node here with Pio and Chris Bennet. This is the NFT podcast focused on digital art. We talk with artists, OG collectors, and big brain degens on all things NFTs. As usual, nothing in this video is financial advice. We are not financial advisors, and the NFT space is incredibly risky, so make sure to always do your own research. Don't forget to hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, and share this with your friends. And also don't forget about the Nifty Portal. Got some cool stuff cooking. Today, we have a special episode, the first of its kind. We're calling it the Monthly Roundup. Shout out to Mr. Long. Probably won't say that again in that way, but we're doing this once a month, mostly so we can continue to learn from our good friend and OG, Chris Bennet. He is always on top of the art scene in particular, discovering new artists, making big plays. Chris, it is great to have you back. How's it going?
Doing awesome. Stoked to be here. Stoked to be part of the monthly roundup. As often as schedule permits, I'm down.
Every month, that's going to be the goal for sure. There it is. It's called the monthly roundup, and you've totally just volunteered. So there it is, live on the show.
That's right.
You told me you were late to the show today because you were doing a little bidding. Would you be open and willing to share what you've been bidding on?
Yeah. I was going to tweet it out in a sec. I'll do it after the show. I put it in the private chat.
Awesome.
So I will pull it up right now.
Yep. Really awesome artist on Solana. It's a 101 piece. He has a series called Lost in Space. I've been watching it for like 3 or 4 weeks. And I just snagged that one for 80 Sol today.
Wow. Okay, so what's their name here?
So Ben, that's his Twitter handle too. Ben Bachow.
Ben
I don't know
Bachow.
how to fully pronounce it.
I like it a lot.
Isn't that he's sick and he's really unique. Go to the Lost in Space link too and look at all the other ones from the collection.
Ooh.
They're really cool.
Chris, you got eyes.
You got good taste.
Yeah. Chris has his ear to the streets, man. Holy shit.
This is Soul too, guys. Come on.
Oh, this looks good. Honestly, this reminds me of John Lee, dude. It looks a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, the similar style, and I like
similar vibes, but unique enough that it's way different, right?
Oh, for
Look at
sure.
this.
And they look so good. I mean, and is this like? I mean, I'm gonna be so ignorant here. Is this Japanese text that I'm looking at here? If it is, I'm buying, dude. I just love Japanese art. It's so cool.
You do love your Japanese art.
We're all suckers for Japanese art or just Japanese shit in general. If I see a product on Amazon and it says made in Japan, I'm like just more interested in it. If it's not, you know,
done 100%. Like, you ever seen Jiro Dreams of Sushi? It's the best documentary of all.
My gosh.
I mean, makes me just want to go over there and study and become a master. This is so
not
cool.
just that, it also makes you feel like a complete loser in your dedication that you like give to yourself and your my talents. I'm like, dude, I do nothing compared to this guy.
Yeah, I make like toast every morning, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's the extent of my skills, dude.
Yeah,
Pio,
so
you're on it, dude. You can make some pizza and stuff. So
yeah.
Look, there's a lot of parallels. You look at Japanese cooking and the advancements that they made in sushi, you know, fish preparation, raw fish preparation that no other culture in the whole world did. Very similar to the progression that Italians made with pasta, with pizza. A lot of parallels there. Love seeing Japanese oriented stuff. I'm a big fan.
Love that. Okay,
yeah.
So I want to hear more about
artist,
this artist,
huh? Killer.
Yeah. Like, do you have more background on this guy?
Just been watching him on Twitter for a couple weeks. Exchange Art. He was on Exchange Art, and I'm an investor in Exchange Art, so I've been really looking at a lot of the artists there. And his stuff just really spoke to me. I love how deep in the stories it is. I mean, this is the kind of stuff where you want to buy a legit digital screen for the piece, right? Like the piece forces that. And so I just really like it. It's super unique. And the one thing that's really cool, and maybe more people do this on Ethereum, but one thing, there's kind of this cool vibe on Solana where they kind of have this overall theme around one of one drops. Like this, he just completed it. I got the last one of the set today for as far as primary. But that series is called Lost in Place, and it's like this overall theme, but they're all one of ones. I don't know. That's really cool to me. Like from a collector standpoint, it's kind of, there's more meta there. There's more story there. There's more kind of, content behind it besides just the art. But yeah, I mean, that piece is awesome. I picked up another really cool one yesterday too. So this one what I did, and you know, this can be some alpha for people. I'll put it in the chat. This is another one when I brought up, you know, art that deserves a good screen. This for sure. I've been following him for a really long time. I missed out on his primary. And so he does photography, but he always puts them together like that.
Filmmaking.
cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. And
you don't see that often enough in the NFT space.
No, super unique. He, you know, he has just a really cool vibe, really cool story. You can click on his Seconds Life. It looks awesome on the screen too when you're just looking at all of his pieces. When you click over under the series.
Oh, and bangers.
Yeah. Really cool vibe. And just so different. So different. You know, he's zigging, everyone else is zagging. Especially with, you know, moving and all the stuff that he's doing with it. But I mean, that's one of those, like mine, those vibrant colors and stuff. You need a legit screen to do that justice for sure. But so I picked that one up.
Yeah, urban photography or urban like directing, like filmmaking. I'm a huge sucker for it.
Yeah, so this guy's awesome.
How did you find both of these artists? Like, were you just browsing exchange.art?
Yeah, and really, I've been following all the artists there for last couple of weeks as I've been getting exposed. This one, though, I think Qilin actually has a piece, or Cause, one of those guys. So they I remember he shared it a couple of weeks ago. Qilin does his awesome GM shares in the morning where he just puts out a picture and doesn't even tag anybody or anything. And it was one of those. And then I hit him up. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. That's really cool. So a little alpha for people, if you ever feel, there wasn't any on primary and not many are listed for secondary. And if they are, they're really high because people love his stuff and it's so unique. So I just went and did a private chat with the artist and got it done privately yesterday.
My guy, Chris, just literally getting out there. Hey, we're going OTC here, just developing relationships. That's how it's really done.
It's true. And I didn't used to do it at all.
That's what Brinkman was telling us about too, right? He's like encouraging people. And I haven't really done this much. I did it actually with Skylux a little bit, right? Because I wanted to win that piece so bad, right? And I was just DMing him like, dude, I want this, you know, and I was bummed that I lost. But, you know, Brinkman and you as well, Chris, you both mentioned that idea of like establishing a relationship with artists early on. And you got to be part of, like, not only can you obviously, you know, hopefully work out deals with them or get sneak previews of their next pieces and stuff like that. Like, but you can also be part of growing them, right? And helping to grow their brand, which I think is so cool.
100%. Yeah, I had a choice of 3 and I picked that one. That was the one that resonated with me the most. So that, I mean, there's some alpha there for sure. I'm the old school guy in me. Like what I used to do, I'd be like, oh shoot, it's not available. Okay, I'll watch for prices to come down or I'll make offers. But especially with one-on-one stuff, the whole point behind that I love so much about NFTs is how accessible the artists are. I mean, I love it. I always joke all the time that I say I came for the collecting, but stayed for the connecting. Yeah. And because I just love, I mean, some of my best relationships I've made over the last year are with artists. And so I love that anyways.
Oh,
that's awesome.
It's the best. It's funny you bring that up. So one of our staff members, like our graphic designer, XP, he is an artist and I have one of his pieces. He keeps his work really scarce. He's really a genius at branding his name because it's just impossible to spell it and remember it, even though he works for me.
Or something. I
can't. And I literally can't even pull up his work right now. I'm going to have to go to my vault. But what I was going to say is, here's another thing is that I'm just reaching out to him about getting prints, even if I don't own the NFT. So then he like reaches out to the collector to see, you know, if it's okay. So it's like a way to get like a personalized print. In some instances, it's signed. Most instances it's not, because that's kind of like the thing that is a little bit murky, and gotta love OpenSea right now just being broken sea, so I can't even show it. But
I know.
And anyway, we can get back to it, but yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that is cool, interesting, man. With the signature, right? Because I feel like if I owned the NFT, I'd probably be down with you getting a print, but I'd probably be bummed if you had an actual inked signature.
Oh, right? For sure. Well, that's what I did with Skylux. Like when I lost that first bid, to Kelvin. I like found his site, and I could buy prints of the same thing. And so I just bought a print of that first piece, and then I bought the NFT on his next auction. But in the chat, Ethersea is saying that not sure if it was mentioned, but Ben Bachow has a PFP collection on ETH, which I was not aware of. So Ben Bachow PFP collection on ETH called Ascended. I'd be curious to see if we can find that. That's interesting. Maybe worth checking out, because I
he's
love
been
that
around.
artwork.
He also has another really cool one he was sending me.
Yeah,
it's cool because he plays with a lot of OpenSea's crazy. He plays with a lot of different mediums. Here's another cool one that he's just starting to release that I just put in there. That I haven't collected yet, called Satori.
The right one. I'm gonna pull up your link, Chris, just because of how
Exchange Art is loading.
Okay. Yeah, no kidding.
This is another collection he's working on. So he does all kinds of different stuff. Really active. He's really networked and active with like a lot of artists, which I really like too, which is really cool. He supports a lot of artists.
Man, this makes me want to load up my Solana bags. I just need to start. I've got a bunch set aside for my bodega buddies. Got to mint all 50 of my bodega buddies, dude. So I got like 100 soul ready to rock, dude. And then after that, I need to just start hanging out on Exchange.art, dude. This is awesome. So, I mean, for those of us that are just kind of looking around, like, do you have a strategy beyond the fact that you're just connecting directly with artists in terms of looking on Exchange.art, or is it that small? Because whenever somebody asks me like, hey, should I just browse OpenSea? I'm always like, no, like that's a bad idea. But Exchange.art feels like it's small and niche enough that you actually could do that.
It is right now. And I would just look at their activity page, right? Like you like on their
there's that one's right there.
Front page, we got Ben Bachow.
Nice. Perfect timing.
Look at that.
So I mean, what I did was I started just browsing, going through like the top sales, and I started following those people on Twitter. And then the ones that really stuck out to me as like really, really unique, I really started to hone in on watch their activity. So I've watched 3 of Ben's auctions in 3 weeks in a row. And before I jumped in on the one today, I actually wanted to do the one last week too, and I would have got it a little cheaper, but I was just gone. But I was still aware of it and watched it and paying attention. And so that's what I would say. Here's what I would also say on one of one art too. It is really important not to if there's some stuff that's available that's totally in your price range, you love the art and you could care less if you sell it, like go buy it. But like 80 souls pretty legit buy, right? Like what I did today with Ben's, and that kind of stuff, you really should wait and just kind of watch and see, because there are a lot of days where people just aren't around on an auction and you can get a crazy good deal. I mean, if you look, dude, it was one of like the worst ever. I was out of town, I was traveling or something, and I had all my ETH in a hardware wallet. But Luis Ponce had a super rare auction, and it was like right after Luna and all that stuff. And most of his stuff is 20 ETH plus, and it went for 9 ETH because it was just that week where no one's around, like everyone's checked out. It was in the summer, like that person is stoked. Like that's a no-brainer. And so that's my advice on like kind of the auction scene with one of ones is don't feel like you have to FOMO hard and really extend yourself. Kind of watch and wait. Like you, I mean, Node, you probably liked that piece that you lost maybe a little more, I don't know, to the new one you got, but you got the new one a lot cheaper.
I did. Yeah, that's exactly. I freaking love that piece. But I got the print. I like the new one, not as much as the other one, but I still love it. And so, I'm stoked that I got it cheaper.
And you saved some ETH. Yeah. So I would tell people, just watch artists, get to know them, engage with them on Twitter, and just be patient. Because one of one is really illiquid. It's a long-term buy. And I look at it kind of like I do with my angel VC stuff. Like I'm buying 10. I mean, I'm only buying stuff I like, obviously, but I'm buying 10 with the expectation for one to return my fund, so to speak.
Yeah, totally.
That's how I look at it.
And that's kind of how I view my entire NFT collection I'm like, I hope that like either my ringer or my punk will, one of those might take off to the stratosphere and then just make up for all my bad purchases. They kind of have done it already, just not to like hey, this is a life-changing degree, right? But someone in the chat's telling us about Papa Moo on Solana on Solana Art. Anybody heard of Papa Moo? That's a cool name.
That is a cool name. I'm not familiar.
I'll give you familiar.
The founder of Bothead and is big into all the art as well. We'll have to check that out. Thank you.
So I'll give you one more. I got a lot. I'll give you one more, and this one is some good alpha because I have not bought yet, but I've been watching. So we'll hook this up since it's Node's show. I'll put the link in the Twitter. I think they're really cool, but they're called names Hyblinks, and that's the Twitter. And then you could go to, let's see, I mean, even just the website. But their style is really cool. So there's another really cool trend on Solana where art. I just think their style is really cool. Really click on portfolio. Yeah, you probably already did. It's just loading. Yeah.
Woo! There's an OK Bear remix here on the right.
I think they started out doing some derivatives for people and stuff, just kind of testing out stuff. But Unique, they're really cool. I really like their stuff too. Look
at this D-Gods.
That thing's cool.
Yeah,
I like it. It reminds me of like Pop Wonder a little bit, doing all the collabs with the projects, and has a very distinct style.
Yeah, it's kind of that vibe. There's a really cool kind of trend on Solana with one-of-one PFPs. Like they auction off PFPs sometimes instead of like these artists do. Instead of like doing a long collection, it's like every week they'll do a PFP style art and auction it off. Dude, I'm killing my bags right now so bad because I haven't bought yet, but I just love them so much. So I'm down to give a shout out. So there's I just put in the chat the Hoodlums link on Exchange Art. So every week there's a Hoodlums one-of-one PFP that Hyperlinks does. How sick are those?
Oh, these are cool.
Yeah,
good.
Super unique, super different. So I'm vibing on Sol right now. I really like the uniqueness. There's a lot of really cool stuff. The entries are still really good. And there's just a cool little vibe there. I mean, Node, you saw it. When you tweet out when you buy art on Sol, the engagement is insane.
Yeah.
And that's art. That's not even like saying you joined a PFP collection,
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I noticed. I'm like, dude, this is if I gotta grow my Twitter following, I need to start sipping to the Solana crowd, man. They were like tons of love on that John Lee edition. Just like boom.
I mean, who doesn't love John?
Yeah,
he's amazing. But so anyways, that's kind of my stuff right now that I'm going through. Man, we have so much to talk about if this is supposed to be a monthly roundup, and we're already 30 minutes in.
Oh, we're only 18 minutes in.
Oh, are we
18? Okay. Yeah, we had a delayed start. We're totally good.
That was my bad. Okay, we're good.
No, we're totally good. I love this. I'm gonna take notes and check these out. Let's move over to ETH land while we're here. You been making any plays on ETH?
Man, my story on ETH lately is calling the right play but not doing it.
Okay, so I like the sound of that. Let's go.
I knew QQL was a day trade. I knew it. I knew it was a day trade. Let's talk about QQL real quick. So awesome to see how much volume and money went in this type of a market. Incredible project. Yeah. Groundbreaking project. 10 years from now, the QQL is definitely in the conversation. The one thing that I just love about it too. So I was paying attention early. Like Kevin did a podcast with Dandelion and Tyler, and we got it early.
It dropped on the same. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Publicly dropped on the same day as Node's interview with Dandelion. They were competing head to head for views. Imagine if Node had gotten Tyler Hobbs.
I know. That would have been awesome. Now it was awesome. You guys had the Dandelion interview. It was awesome. We got it early on proof, so I had time to like digest and really think about it. And I just knew when it hit 14. I knew, but I just was like, you know what? I've just been really trepidatious. Anything over 10. I've been doing a lot of snipes lately. I'll get into those in a sec. But on QQL, look, I honestly, this isn't fighting it at all. I think it's one of the coolest projects ever. I think you'll be able to get a pass under 10 ETH. before the end of the year, probably, just because of the market, not because of the project.
Is it because of the market, or is it because of who's in the market and the way they perceive this?
I would say that, but I would also say I think most of the money that went into QQL were just early ETH bag guys like punks, the early Fidenzas, the early punks, the early art blocks guys that have a lot of liquidity. And then it's like there's not a lot of new people maybe to spend that much money. But yeah, I agree. I think it's the people too, the people and the amount of people and the volume and stuff. I think it's a brilliant project. I absolutely love it. I love playing with the thing. I think the seed marketplace is going to be amazing. Like that's going to change. That's a game changer too, right? In and of itself. So cool. And people have already been selling their seeds OTC.
Really? That's interesting. I love how, shout out to Kix out there. If he ever listens to this, he was like, yeah, I bought it at 14 and I knew it was going to go to 20. It went to 20 the same day. And then he didn't trade it. The one thing that's interesting about this collection to me though, is that like, when you think about it, the outputs are all rare. Like they're kind of all like the outputs that are chosen are all going to be pretty much rare. And
you mean the outputs that are minted?
Yeah, sorry, that are minted. Yeah, the outputs that get minted, like they're all going to be somewhat good, meaning that there's not going to be like necessarily floor versus rares on that. I don't know. The other thing that's interesting is that I think people are underestimating the fact that like they think they've found a grail or they've created a grail and it's been like 1 week. Dude, people have 20, 30, 40 years to crank this output. I mean, we may have 5 to 10 million outputs already. Dude, there literally could come a day when we have 1 billion outputs of this thing. And that's when you find the actual rares.
Yes.
So it's all the incentive for me is to never mint one of these things, like just hold the pass, which makes it kind of weird from a art collecting perspective. And that's why I feel like the outputs that have been minted, that feels like it's completely illiquid because
well, it is, right? There's only been like 10 ETH volume in trading.
Yeah, basically nothing. But you're saying that some OTC deals have happened, huh?
For the seed.
For the seed.
For then someone to go like if I see in your wallet that you created a grail and I didn't and I don't know how to twist those knobs, I could contact you. And right now it's being done OTC. I know of one that sold theirs for 5 ETH.
That's
seed.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So you sold something just from fiddling, just because you're good at.
So think about when this marketplace opens, because no, it's really cool. Like that's really interesting to me. Because Node is spot on. That one's cool. It's just like
banging.
I know. It's just like what I think you said, Pio, on yours that you put out. Like I played with it pretty quick. I had a really busy week. I think I did like 1,000 renders, and I had a mountain one, and one of the mountain ones got picked as a winner. Mine wasn't as cool, but I had a mountain one. But then I go through the what's it called? I go through the hashtag on Twitter and I'm like, I suck. So I'm like, these are so much better than me.
So many that are so good.
Going through that,
going early.
Yeah, even looking at this is a quick way to hurt your own feelings. Is to look through these.
I was like, I'm just a knob twister, but this guy's a better knob twister than me. Like, this is insane. I suck. And but
man. Again, there's so much to the randomness aspect, right? Like you're clicking the button. There's only so many variations you can select on the inputs, right?
Yeah, I had one similar to that, but the background wasn't as cool. My mountain was, I think, just as cool, but the background wasn't as cool.
That's very so cool. Nice. I was hoping my elephant would get chosen. Nobody cared.
You know what one?
I love. 6529 liked it. So
you know what one I absolutely love, and he's a Moonbird holder. And he listens to our show. He listens to this show and your guys' show. That one's really cool. Is that the Cosmo one?
That might be
called the Eagle or something.
KD. They called it the Phoenix, I think. I have one very similar to that.
That one's cool.
Yeah,
almost like a golden wave too. But the one that's kind of like 3D, they picked it as one of the winners.
Oh yeah, it was Antfix.
That one. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's that one right there. Second row on the right, Pio. That's the one.
That one is so cool when you
listed
open
for
it up
500 ETH.
Like when you really stare at it and how it changes like the 3D dimensions and stuff. It's really cool. That one's really cool. I know. So QQL is insane. QQL is really cool. It just opens up this whole new avenue. When the marketplace opens up, that's a whole nother conversation. That's really cool. Of like, you know, you could have someone who is really good at twisting the knobs, being an artist, literally making money off of a QQL marketplace. It's almost like I don't know. I mean, you know, it's kind of like an Etsy or things like that, where it's like you're just good at your craft and you can kind of crank out without you actually being the artist minting. That's rad. That's really rad.
Yeah, I love that. So, remind me, do you have a few of these mint
No,
passes?
so
or
I had enough ETH to get one at 14 ready, and I was just like, you know what? I actually thought there'd be a good trade like that day, and then I thought it would come down quicker before the mint hype. But I will be buying 100%. I will be buying. I'll probably buy 2 because I'll want to do one for the personal kind of side, and for sure one to hold the pass. So one person in Proof had a funny idea of like minting just a super really crap one and making it at the floor and listing it really low, and then maybe that would get traded a lot, and then you have your royalties kick in more often.
That's actually a genius idea.
Yeah, like be like that guy.
Create the commodity floor.
Yeah, the
piece,
commodity
right?
QQL. And then yours
Yeah.
is the one with the most trading volume, and you get more royalties, which is also another really cool aspect of the project too. Super cool.
Yeah, I'm totally on your page. Like, I'm looking to pick it up under 10 ETH, mostly because that's my arbitrary like number that I can't spend over, because I'd run out of ETH in like 3 buys. So
I know.
if I can get it under 10, I totally will. That's awesome, man.
So we're looking at QQL under 10. Chris is, so this is where I just lick my chops, is Chris is the best at this, is like just telling you where he thinks an appropriate price is. We said QQL under 10. You were buying oddities at like under 0.6, I think, which was insane buy.
Genius.
Xcopy Max Payne at 0.4. Any other stuff you're looking at right now when you look at the kind of top projects that you're like, yeah, I like that under X?
Speaking of Xcopy, I picked up a super rare off of a collection wide offer for 12 ETH Grifter last week.
Wow.
And the floor is like 14 or something. And the type that I have, the one that I got, there's only like 33 of that kind. So that was a good snag for me. I put in a collection offer. When I didn't do QQL, I'd been watching Grifters for a while, because I have 2 that like I'll probably never sell. I don't know, but I like to trade it because I know it really well. I watch it a lot. Yeah, I mean, and look how thin the floor is.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to 20 super quick. So I'll probably trade it, right? I got it for like 12. You'll see it right there. 12. Yeah. 12 even 5 days ago.
Oh yeah.
And it's a good one.
What is that style? It's like the giant round head.
Yeah. Click on it. It's, it'll tell you right there. It's the
Wretch.
The Wretch. And then Wretch in that color. So there's only like 80 Wretch. And then, that color, there's like 33. But,
so cool.
But that was from a collection wide, and I snagged a more rare. So that was pretty cool. I was stoked on that buy. Anything under, like anything around there, 12-10 on a Grifter, you're going to be fine. If you're, again, you know, reminding people my kind of mindset is long thinking, you're going to be so fine.
Have you messed around with their with the little create your own Grifter thing?
The Grifter QQL?
Yeah, the Grifter QQL. Yeah. It's awesome, man.
It's rad. Grifters. With WTF for people who haven't played with it. Super fun, because there's some traits in there that didn't get minted, like the eyes, like the afterburn eyes are super cool.
Yeah, they are. Yes,
yeah, so and the what's it called, the jail one mouth, because I don't think that got minted, and that one looks so rad. That's what I did in mine too. But
yeah, and just so people are aware, I don't know when the competition ends, but you can submit your creation, and then you win a Max Payne. I think he's going to choose 3 winners. So
yeah, he'll choose 3.
It's so fun. This one gives you more control than QQL, right?
Yeah.
Can
those eyes didn't get minted, and they're so rad.
Yeah, I love those. I love how he called it Build a Grifter. It's like Build a Bear for adults, dude. Like, I was at Build a Bear like 3 months ago with my kids, and here I am on my Build a Grifter. These are awesome, man.
There you go. Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, so aside from Grifters, I mean, you have you been putting out offers elsewhere across the board right now?
Yes. Well, taking a piece out of your book. Yeah, that mouth. When you go back like 2, up 1 maybe over. I can't see on my. Yeah, right there.
There it is. The jail. Yeah, the jail mouth.
I love that piece so much. Like if I had some sort of liquidation event from a startup or something. That one's an edition. I think it's like an edition of 10, but I would still go by that. I love that piece.
I like this pink comb over that you can do right here. It's pretty good.
Dude, that's a good looking one.
Dude, my grifter has a blue comb over, and I freaking love it, dude.
Yeah,
it's that one. It's that style right there.
No, that's like the emo. That's like the emo.
It's like the emo comb over. Yeah, it's so rad, dude.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I'm putting the finishing.
Yeah, and then when you save as, it propagates in the Discord, the Xcopy Discord, so we see all the ones being created.
Wow. Okay.
Share it and tag Grifter Season at the SZN on Twitter, and then you can be eligible for the giveaway.
All right,
but yeah, it's fun.
Super fun. Drop it now.
But yeah, I got a Memories of Qilin for 3.87, right before the run up. I did a collection-wide offer too there because I like all of them, so I just wanted to see what people were willing to do, and I could tell they were capitulating. So I put it. This is when I didn't buy QQL. I went and got that Grifter, and I got that Memories. So I still made good use out of that ETH.
Oh, beautiful.
Because it's like, what's it at now?
It's at like 6. I think the floor's around 6 ETH, and I get to talk about this without bringing it up. I was trying so hard not to, and here it is. And I fully regret not going harder. Right? I remember you. I was texting you. Yeah, you were texting me, and you were like, "Why are these so cheap?" Yeah. I was like, I don't know, and I was being greedy, trying to get another one. So, like right now, you'd be stoked to get anything for 4 or less.
Oh yeah.
And
it like ran right after that. Like if you look at the activity, it like ran right after that. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, 6.5 floor. I mean, it was in the right around.
Is this you,
4.
Chris? 3.81.
No, so someone else snagged that. So I am a 3 though. Go
3.85. Vault 97.
Yeah,
boom. There it is. Gosh,
that guy though, 3 days ago. That's a nice move. That was probably right before.
It was over the weekend, literally over the last weekend, because I checked it before the weekend and it was right around 4 and came back and I was like, what the heck happened? So this is, oh man, they're just beautiful. These move around. They tend to have decent volume. I wonder if it'll slow a little bit because the price is creeping up. But yeah, one of those, it's like the light blue. I think it's called like an Intrepid. Oh, that one's cool. Gorgeous, dude. Man.
There's some grails for sure. Like you can tell the difference for sure. It's like Meridian. Like all the Meridians are awesome, but then when you look at the grails, you're like, oh, geez.
Yeah, I remember Dandelion talking about this and saying like Meridians and Memories of Qilin, like both of these collections are kind of defined by like the top beautiful pieces. Like they just create some of the most beautiful outputs at the top end.
Well, that Meridian one that he talked about is the inspiration for QQL. The mountain.
No, really? Oh, the lion?
Yeah, remember, he says, no, like the Lone Mountain one or whatever, like the Starry Night Mountain
one. Yeah, the Meridian. Yeah.
That was kind of the inspiration because they were basically like, that was almost impossible that got generated in that little amount of mints. And that's what that kind of started the whole exploration for QQL, which is really cool. Meridians are amazing. Meridians are always a buy for me too if you're long, 100%. Yeah. Like if you're thinking MoMA's coming in, like Meridian's going to be there. Yeah, especially when you have a digital screen set up. You know, if the MoMA has digital screens and stuff, when it shows it layering in, Meridian's going to be there. Memories are going to be there.
Those charcoal ones are ridiculous. Dude.
So my first best trade ever was this. Meridian's minted when Art Blocks was going nuts, right? Because it was after Fidenzas and Ringers ran. It was like the month after. And so it minted out like instantly, Gas War, and it was instantly like 6 ETH, but not, you know how Art Blocks can take a while, at least back then, to reveal the piece, even though it is supposed to be an instant reveal, it takes a while to catch up. So NFT nerds, there was no rarity, but you couldn't see the piece. But NFT nerds, you can snipe when they come in. And I'm watching and everyone's sniping at like 7, 8, and I see this one come in and it's 6.8 and I go boom and I snipe it. And I hadn't really flipped much by then. This is like September last year, whenever it came out. And then it reveals and it's the all monochromatic green. And it's like, and so I flipped it 2 days later for 20 something ETH, like 28 ETH. And it was one of my, like, after that, I was like, okay. And then I bought a floor. I waited and I bought a floor at like 6 or 7 because I was like, I will always own a Meridian. That one's really cool. That one's really unique. There's not a lot that color scheme.
I've been trying to get one of these for a month and a half, 2 months, and nobody budges.
I know
on these.
They're diamond handed. You're just gonna have to buy floor. Yeah. They're You'll do fine. They're kind of like gazers, right? They just every month they kind of slowly creep up, and they hold really well.
Okay, so I got a question for you. If you were to take a look at Meridian versus a squiggle, which would you prefer?
Dude, that's hard because I am very much a squiggle maxi.
There
This is
he
my
is.
fuzzy. I'm so pissed though. I forgot you're supposed to email them to change the background color, and I wanted it black because fuzzies look so good on black.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I emailed and asked if I could order another one, and they're like, "No one's ever asked that before." And I'm like, "I gotta have a black." And Snowfro said no. He said one per token, so I might need to go buy another fuzzy.
Dang.
But anyways, it's hard, right? Like either one, you're gonna do fine. Meridian from an art play, Meridian, you're gonna do better. There's less, collection size. The art is just absolutely stunning. For sure, you're gonna see that in museums. But Chromie Squiggle, the other side, because there's so many, that also adds to like the whole meme play of crypto and all of that too. And Snowfro is just a brilliant, content creator, marketer, etc. So that's really hard. I'd probably end up picking it. Well, it depends on what you're doing, right? If you're like building an art bag to keep, I'd go that way. If you're building to like flip and make money, I would actually say Chromie Squiggles probably has the better. I think once Trad catches in and stuff. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard.
It's so hard because my issue with squiggles, I mean, number one, I paper handed it. I bought it for 7 and like a year later sold it for 7. And I was just like, these are so flat, and I don't know why I just didn't hold it because I loved it. But my only worry is that it's the only generative art collection that has done really, really well that has a supply of like 10K, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many, and the unique distribution is so low. Like there's just for whatever reason, it's always been that way, right? Like,
well, because early on, dudes were minting like 150.
They're minting
and they still have all 150.
Yeah, but it's like every time there's been like a little bit of a run up, they seem to like they seem to always kind of self correct down to around 10 ETH or less.
Always.
Up until recently, they've held over a 10 ETH floor for a while. I think maybe what I need to do is just get over it and realize like I sold it at 7 ETH when ETH was probably double, right? What it is right now. So I can just pretend like I'm buying back in cheaper in USD terms. My only problem is I didn't ever cash out to USD. So
you probably fumbled it into some stupid PFP project that went to zero.
That's correct. That's exactly what I did, dude. That is 100% what I did. I like your thoughts on it though. I mean, I think Chromies they're always a safe bet. And
they're a safe bet. They're a savings account. I look at them at like a savings account. Like if I was going to buy 10 ETH NFT for my kids to keep till they're like 40, and I was going to spend 10 ETH, it probably would be a Chromie Squiggle. It'd be really hard to not argue that for 10 ETH.
You think so?
I think so. That's just me. But I also drink the Proof Kool-Aid, right? Everyone in Proof loves Chromie Squiggles because Kevin loves Chromies. We've all been turned on to them from early on. We talk about them all the time. Half of the PFPs in the Proof Discord are Chromies. I will say this, if people want some alpha, and again, this is like messing up my own plays, but I'm all about sharing. Sharing is caring, right? Fuzzies are extremely undervalued. I think fuzzies are some of the best looking on screens. They look really, really good when they animate too. I think because of just the rarity side, there's more of them than some of the other ones, but like, and if you look, there's a couple in the low teens and then it's like 30s. On fuzzies. So I've been I had some offers in when I put the offers in on the Grifter and the memories. I also had offers in on fuzzies. And I was just kind of like, if any of these take, the bold, I want a bold so bad. I want a bold really bad. But anyways, so yeah, back to UPO. I mean, I do drink the Kool-Aid, but I do think there's just Art Blocks is not going away. Art Blocks is changing the game. They've changed the game and they're going to do it. I'm stoked on the V2 announcements. Which you could probably talk about, it'd be fun to talk about a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, dude, they're on a soccer team. Like, I don't know. There's just a good meme. It's like art, but there's a good meme factor to it too. And when you have both of those, that's powerful.
Yeah, it's like having it also feels like a digital signature too. Like when
Yeah,
somebody
yeah, yeah.
mentioned that to me, I was like, "Oh," it really clicked. It's like, yeah, dude,
Yeah.
everyone is kind of unique and they are cool. Like the more you look at them, more you fall in love with them. And
Yeah.
I gotta give a shout out. This like Archipelago, it looks so much nicer over
I
here than on
know.
OpenSea. like shout out to Dandelion, man. They nailed it on this
It's really
on
pretty
the
to
view.
browse.
Yeah, just everything is great. So that's super cool, man. Oh, look at these. Yeah, great learning
But like back
experience.
to your question on you think PO, I would like Moonbirds are 10 ETH right now. I love Moonbirds. I think they're a total buy long term. Building, playing on teams and stuff. I think the CCO stuff just flooded it down and then the market timing. But I would still, if I'm thinking like 20 years for my kids, I would buy a Chromie over a Moonbird for my kids.
Interesting.
Well, there's less risk. This is what
I'd
I've been
have to
talking
probably
about.
trade. I'd probably have to trade the Moonbird to make it benefit my kids. Whereas the Chromie, I could just set it and forget it. I think.
Exactly, because this is what we've been talking about is like as soon as, so Kevin Rose has to go and deliver something. He has to go do things, right?
Yeah.
You don't, Snowfro doesn't have to do things with
No.
Chromie scrolls. Obviously, it's better if Snowfro's art blocks platform becomes more robust, blah, blah, blah. But that's almost more just progressing the space as a whole versus running a startup within the space, if that makes sense,
agreed.
right? So the fine art is literally the way to go, because you could just get these explosive, quote unquote inflated valuations, and no one ever has to do anything. Other people just need to decide that it's important.
I'll tell you right now, for the price, if you have bags, there is no better buy you could make right now betting on fine art and NFTs than Grant
Yun.
Yeah.
Grant Yun.
I think he'll be one of the first ones that's all over museums. And yeah, he's expensive right now, but respectively to what's going to happen when trad comes, he's going to be like untouchable. You won't be able to buy his stuff.
You think a 2 ETH is cheap for a Grant?
Well, in addition, I'm talking about as one of ones, right? Aren't they like 30s, 40s?
I don't know.
Man, that's so hard.
NSR.
This is what's hard about the fine art stuff too, right? It's like especially if you go one-on-ones, then you're going like illiquid, holding it long term.
I know.
And hopefully they do explode. But I agree with Pio. It's like they have been the highest selling stuff is all, it's all one-on-ones or it's punks, right? Like, but I'd be curious, like, what are your thoughts on editions in general, Chris? Because I kind of have a hard time if an edition's over like 10 or something, in terms of like, okay, do I really feel like I have like something that's scarce? What are your thoughts on editions from artists like Grant Yun or any other one-on-one artists? Oh, do we lose him?
No.
Right when he was like hardwired in too. Our guy Chris has disappeared.
I find it hard to believe that that he's got janky internet. I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, I do as well. Well, I think that the challenge is like, dude, it doesn't matter like how well you're doing. Like you're always at the whim of whatever the local service provider is. But I mean, he lives in a decent area, I'll tell you that. And you would expect things to be okay. But hopefully he comes back. We're just right now checking out more Grant Yun stuff. I actually really loved his stuff until Pio, you started showing me like the direct inspo from it. And I'm like, is this
still
too
really
similar?
good.
It is. It's still really good. It still is.
Especially like this one. Well, look, he gets inspo, but he does his own thing with it. I mean, look, he's dope. Like, come on, I'm an asshole if I start like calling into question Grant Yun. And I mean, look at how the market is favoring him, right? And and Node, this one's banging. In Node, he's not copying the 3 most copied artists in the space, who are.
Oh, dude, every time you bring this up, I'm forgetting. We got Hockney, right?
Hockney is one of so in my opinion, dude, first of all, the fact that now everything we say makes it back to people, yeah. I just have to own it. I just have to wear it. So like, I'm going to say this stuff. Grant Yun is inspired by Hockney and Hopper. Okay. So David Hockney and Edward Hopper, which is not bad, right?
No,
so
not
like
bad.
Xcopy is is inspired by Basquiat, but he ran with it so far that it's like it's his own thing. And I think I'm ready to say that Grant Yun ran with it so far that it's his own thing for sure. He's not ripping anybody off. This one's absolutely banging. I was a little thrown off when I very, very first saw them. And I saw like the direct Hockney inspiration. But again, who am I? And plus this stuff is just absolutely banging. So I'm all in. I'm on the Grant Yun gravy train. The top three are Basquiat, Picasso,
and I can't remember. Oh, Pollock?
Keith Haring.
No, Haring, that's right.
Although we've seen a little bit of Pollock action recently.
We've said that's why it popped into my head.
Getting in the internet beef on Twitter over and calling. I was like, yo, it looks just like Jackson Pollock. And the guy's like,
this is so innovative. Okay, cool. But it still looks like a Pollock. Like, can you not admit that? That's great. I mean, shout out. Great art. Great art. I myself am going, I decided, I tweeted this out like last week. I was like, everyone's telling me to code. I'm going to learn how to paint instead, dude. I think it's just going to be so much more fun.
Well, we should talk about that, Node. So like, look, if you wanted to let's say you were a school teacher and you're making $50,000 a year being a school teacher, and you're trying to think, look at how banging this Grant Yun is right here. But anyway, you're trying to think like, how do I make money? How do I, like, so many people went to college and don't make money. You know what I mean? And Chris, we're just quickly covering one thing, and maybe you can weigh in on this because you're, a successful individual. So many people went to college and don't make any money. And for those people, if they can find a way to enjoy software engineering to the point that they'll spend a lot of time getting good at software engineering, then there's no more direct way than switching to software engineering for them to go from making like 50 grand as a teacher to making 90 grand as a software engineer within 24 months, and then 130 grand within 48 months or something like that, or like 5 years, right? So that's like the best option. If someone like has a family, if they can figure out a way to enjoy practicing software engineering, that's how they can go from not making a lot of money to making way more money. But for someone like you, Node, why would you suddenly become a software engineer? Like, that doesn't really make any sense to me. But becoming an artist would just add to your, I shouldn't say becoming an artist, creating art would flex different mental muscles. It would give you different things to talk about. It would give you different things to showcase. It would maybe allow you to do collaborations with other artists that you feature on your podcast, Node Mode. To me, that's a no-brainer. What the hell is software engineering going to do for you, Node? I don't really understand. It sounds pretty not really the thing that I'd focus on.
Yeah, I mean, I've thought about being a software engineer like once a month for about 10 years, right? But it's like, I just don't get excited about it. And it's like, if you don't get fired up about trying something, then don't do it. And I totally agree. Like, even, dude, I've already started watching like little YouTubes here and there, like about like, how to paint or how to do watercolor. And it's like, it's opening up this whole different world of how to even like look at the world. I'm like looking at the sky differently and the clouds. It's like bizarre, and I love it. So yeah, man, in about a year, dude, let's touch base. I'll start showing you my work. So it'll be cool. But hey, Chris, welcome back. Glad to see you here.
Welcome back, Chris. And real quick, Luke Cannon said every artist is inspired by someone else. Of course, there's examples in the NFT space of artists that like are taking it beyond inspired, and I would say mimicking a little bit. And that's all I'll say about that. But anyway, welcome back, Chris.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I'm literally on my phone. My computer just basically exploded. I don't know what's going on. Like, just shut down. What were you guys talking about with you wanting to code versus like talking about on Grant being a nurse and doing art?
No, we just it just the conversation kind of flowed away from that. But yeah, let's talk more about Grant, because we left off with like editions, and I honestly don't know. Yeah, like what your thoughts are on buying editions from Grant in particular.
I mean, any edition from an artist you think is going to be one of those mega guys is going to be a good buy. Like Xcopy is a good example of that, and things like that. I get on ETH, it's good. Tezos is fun for like if you're really early to an artist, because most stuff's edition there. Most of my Tezos buys are just stuff I like. It kind of bums me out when there's so much additions over there on stuff. But yeah, I mean, if you can't afford a one of one and you're bullish, you love the artist and you're bullish on them long term, then yeah, I mean, edition is the way to go, right? I mean, that's the only way to get exposed. And as the one of ones grow, but what I was saying is, even though one of ones are expensive,
Yeah.
I think they're going to look like a freaking steal not too far from now.
I need a fund, man. That's why I need a fund so we can go scoop these grails. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, if I was advising a fund that had money for one of one art, I'd be telling them Grant is one of the first ones they should be buying.
It looks like some people have gotten steals buying at 1.5 and 1.6 on Life in Japan. I think for all of this stuff, collection-wide offers is the only way, you know, because it's like you're just going to get a better deal. Yeah,
I am so stoked now that most marketplaces do that, because it's just such a great way. It's a great way for someone that needs to liquidate too.
Yep.
It's awesome for both. It's awesome for volume. It's awesome. And then it's just awesome as a collector because you can catch that timing where someone just needs that money.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, man. We got people in the chat loving Basquiat, giving us all sorts of insights there. We do have some people also mentioning that like editions don't feel real, which I kind of understand that, right? I kind of get it. But it's also a great way to support the artist. I would say the one exception, right, was like Xcopy's Max Payne though. Like, wasn't it 1 ETH when it came out?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Open edition.
Yeah, the open edition was 1 ETH. So it's like that one has not fared as well as, you know, any of his other stuff, but
that's also super high supply.
Yeah.
And it will be back. I mean, Afterburn, I saw Afterburn go from, you know, whatever 3 to 8 back down to 3 to like 14, watching it for a year. The one thing with editions though that's funny, like editions are very normal in traditional art too. You know, signed editions and all that stuff. So I think it's a really great way for the artists, especially, to get exposed to more collectors and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But I get the right click save as side of it too, a little.
Well, people, what the one part about the right click save as part of it that people don't talk about is if other people are right click save asing your NFT, then they're driving value to your NFT. If like the word is spreading that your NFT is, you know, dope enough that people want to right click save as and do some prints, that sounds pretty good to me. And that's what Dandelion was saying. No, remember when he was like, yeah, I don't care if people order prints of this piece, because if everyone's got a print of that Meridian in their house and people are like, what is that? And it's like, Dandelion owns the original one. Sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah, it was something crazy on QQL day. Someone in Proof was like, I'm in, I think it was NFT Stats, like, the awesome Twitter account that does all the volume stats and stuff that started out with punks. Because they're in Proof now as our like statistician. They do like reports for us and stuff.
Awesome.
They were traveling in a hotel and they said, almost looks like QQL's on my wall. And it was literally a Tyler Hobbs like print that Marriott had on their wall.
Yeah, it was so sick. Yeah, it's like, dude, and it was obviously that inspired, right? QQL was inspired by his earlier work.
Past stuff, for sure.
Output. And dude, that work on Marriott's wall, like, I don't know if it's like a one of one or if it's a print or whatever. Dude. But dude, wherever that is, like, they ought to get that thing on lockdown, dude. Because we were all
joking. You should slip that in the suitcase and just put a 20 on the pillow.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. It's like, those are gonna be super useful. They better be like, they have no idea. Marriott probably has no idea, like, that art is gonna be worth an insane amount of money very soon. They need to like put those in glass cases and stuff and alarm systems, man.
The physical world is tough, man. That's why people like digital provenance is for real.
Oh, true. The liquidity alone.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. Like Grant Yun.
That's the biggest thing.
Hell yeah, man. You know, and we had that sponsor, Live Art, that sponsored our show. That drop that they did with that artist, his name was Wang Yujing. He was a Chinese artist. He's not huge outside of China, but he had posted 2 7-figure sales at auction in the traditional art world. The high being 8 million. So the guy is, you know, he's like he's legit. But it's like now you can get exposure to that artist immediately, no matter whether you're in China or not. In fact, it's probably easier outside of China to do it.
Yeah.
And you can get it on OpenSea. I can't find the collection right now, but yeah, I mean, it's a great thing to bring up. Any closing thoughts, gentlemen?
I just want to hear from Chris. Nothing from me. I want to hear Chris's closing thoughts.
Real quick, monthly roundup style is how stoked I am on the space. I think because of art, we will break off from like crypto cycles. I think NFTs will.
Kevin Rose said that on our show last Friday.
Yeah, so I think that as well. We're gonna break off. We're gonna be our own thing. When more trad comes, when more people come, and things like that. But I mean, look at these headlines from the last month. Christie's doing on-chain auctions. Sotheby's is doing doing auctions now. The MoMA news, Apple coming to NFTs. We already know Shopify's heads down on it. He just posted a picture of his frame, the CEO of his frame Fidenza in his living room. So something's going to come there. Probably what I think is going to be one of the biggest things to NFTs is like Apple and Shopify is the Web 2.5 wallet, buying with credit card, but keeping it in a wallet. And then I've been hearing rumblings. I can't say the names because from who I heard it from, I'm under an NDA, but one of like the largest companies in the world planning a major NFT, like being able to handle NFTs starting in January too.
Dang.
So it's coming. Yeah, that's right. Bring it back. Christmas, the Christmas bull run.
The end of the year, baby. Don't lose it all before Christmas.
Don't sell it all. Don't sell it all before Christmas. Just hold. Even if you have to unplug and go away, come back. Come back at Christmas.
Dude, honestly, might be the best idea for me and for many of us. So, man, thank you so much, Chris. Monthly roundup. Always. I mean, look, this is already an instant hit in my mind. We'll see you next month. Let's just book it and do this on a monthly basis. Thanks everyone for joining. We'll give you all your day back, and let's chat soon, huh?
Yeah, no, we're not giving them their day back. They're unlucky that we're ending the show. No, they're not giving them.
That's right.
Not a corporate meeting. This is like the highest caliber of content, Node.
That's right.
I also love